Hey everyone, welcome to episode 11 of the CLG Faithful podcast. I'm your host Nefarious, and joining me today is my usual co-host.
What's up? I'm Artrin.
Alright guys, we got another great episode for today, so let's get right into it. So the main league team did not play today. Unfortunately, they did get knocked out last week in the playoffs, but CLG.Black did play in the North American Challenger Series Open Qualifiers. So what this means is that they go through an open bracket in which any set of teams can sign up, and eventually they will make their way through the bracket, and if they win, then they get a chance to compete for the Challenger Series for the upcoming split, in this case, for summer. So, the first round, CLG.Black actually gets a bye. Now, in the second round, they play against WC Silver, and they win a solid 2-0. Then, they move on and play against E-Boy next door in round 3, and they lose game 1, but then they come back super strong and win in a dominating 2 games after that for a 2-1 victory. Now They'll be playing against Relentless Gaming on Saturday, the 22nd of April at 3 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time or 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So give our boys some love.
Yeah, for sure.
And for those who missed it, Zixlaw was actually streaming and casting the game alongside Plop, so that was pretty fun to watch. Be sure to keep watching his Twitter to see if they'll do any more casting.
Yeah, I heard it was actually pretty cool, and a lot of people are asking Zeeks to basically keep doing it, so that's pretty sweet.
And better production quality than I am.
That's not hard to do.
Alright,
so we'll move on to some CSGO. It looks like the ladies in red didn't play anything this week, or at least not that we could find. And so we'll move on to the boys in blue, who are after a really good showing for their first international LAN event in the Kiev event. They come back and they're playing in their normal league, ESL Pro League Season 5. And who do they come up against first? Immortals.
And I believe this was the previous Immortals match that we were supposed to play earlier, but this was rescheduled.
Yes, I believe that is correct. There was the one that was rescheduled a little bit ago, I think because of all the Kiev stuff that was happening and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And so they played. I mean, it was a great showing for the boys, especially against a team like Immortals. We ended up winning the pistol round, doing pretty decently there. But on round 2, even after Kusta got an amazing 4K with an AK in a post-plant situation, well, he planted after 3K, and then it was him versus Henny. Unfortunately, Henny runs around, picks up the godlike ump right now, which is basically like a run and gun operate, it feels like, and gets a clean headshot on him, defuses the bomb. Unfortunately, from there, it kind of becomes a bit of a swift loss, but the boys did show that against a top team like Immortals, they can kind of really step it up, especially on maps like Inferno that they are not the best on. And they ended up losing 8-16.
True, but now we also go up and play against Immortals again in a later round.
Yeah, so like all the ESL stuff, it is best of 2. And in game number 2, it was against Overpass. And we'll just kind of say that this one, we'll just try and forget this game. They lost 6-16. Kind of sucked. It was pretty bad.
It was brutal.
There was no real highlights. The 6 wins they got were basically just luck. So we'll move on. And then it was the ECS S3 North America. So that is CLG playing Optic. And in round 4 of this one, Kusta they're pushing in from Garage as the tees. And Kusta he sees just the corner of Mixwell standing right up against the wall, outside of Squeaky, but at the Garage kind of open door there, gets the pick, boom, that allows CLG to just push in to the bomb site, plant, and win the round. And basically, from that point on, they kind of started to come back. They were down 3-0 at the time, and then on round number 7, in a 3-on-1 post-plant situation, Cutler absolutely decimated Optic. Like, he's got a Tech 9. He's sitting right on top of the bomb. 3 CTs come running around the corner. Boom, headshot. Then he gets a jumping headshot, lands finishes off the third guy. Solid play from both teams. CLG does win it, though, 16-13.
Yeah, that is something that you just have to watch.
It is. I highly recommend going to the hltv.org link. It is actually one of the highlights they ended up putting up there. It is titled like Cutler 3K post plant, something like that.
Yeah,
I highly recommend
we'll link it in the show notes too.
Yeah, there we go. We'll put a link in the show notes. Then they played against Optic yet again, because best of two, and it was on Train. Now, we all know Train's not CLG's best map. However, they did do a good showing here. It was a great start by CLG. They won the pistol round. Then into round 2, Ricky really shows how he can handle any gun. Gets an amazing 3K and an anti-eco round with his ump. Again, that thing is basically just like a walking, running gun op. Then in round 19, Ethan got a really slick 3K, picking up a kill on Nafly to close out the round. Unfortunately, from that point on, Optic doesn't drop a single game and ends up winning it 11-16.
All right. Well,
so yeah, a pretty good 2-1-1 for CLG against Optic, who is another one of those top North American teams. So it's good to see the boys kind of crushing them.
Yeah, it is really nice to see the boys starting to really move up the rankings for CSGO. Although this wasn't the best of weeks for us, but we're really seeing how Ricky is becoming a very valuable member of the squad, and this squad can really go places.
Absolutely.
All right, let's talk Smash.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so this week featured CEO Dreamland, and we're going to start things off with Melee Singles.
Yeah.
So, tell me, we've got SFAT and we've got PPU.
Yeah, PPU was in bracket F3, and he goes 4-0 there. I mean, then he goes up against Flipsy, wins 3-0 in winners' quarters. He ended up getting demolished against M2K, where his Sheik and Marth kicked his butt, I guess. Really sucked. Then he starts out in round 5 in losers bracket and fights Kobol. Picks up 2 wins, but then Kobol attempts to make a comeback and picks up 2 more wins. PPU, though, he remains calm. He is very calm under pressure and takes the series 3-2. Unfortunately, though, he isn't able to beat Hugs and loses 1-3. So a really good showing by him and a finish of 7th place.
Absolutely. And then our boy SFAT. He's in the G1 bracket, and like his fellow COG friend, he wins 4-0. And then he goes on in the winner's bracket. He trades maps with Hugs, but eventually he does win it 3-2. Then he advances to quarters and he plays up against Axe, and he wins that series 3-1. Finally, he advances towards the semifinals, and initially he has a really tough start against Hungrybox on his signature Jigglypuff. But SFAT goes and he proceeds to reverse sweep Hungrybox, and this is with victories on Final Destination and Dreamland. And he moves on towards the finals.
Nice.
But Mewtwo King, he is in the other semifinals, and he's up against Plup. And he defeats him 3-1. So tell me, how does the finals turn out?
Well, in the finals, SFAT beats M2K 3-2, moving him into the grand finals. M2K then managed to pick up the win 3-2 against Hungrybox, and fights it out against SFAT again in the grand finals. Always good to see SFAT and M2K in the grand finals. And then SFAT crumbles and loses 3-0, and then in the second one, because M2K was coming from the losers bracket, he has to win twice. Beats him 3-1. Despite the loss, though, SFAT did have an amazing play, coming in second place, and something like CEO Dreamland is really, really good. And he takes second place. So
Absolutely.
That's pretty sweet.
And you know what? Both of the CLG boys placed top 8.
Yeah,
and
that's really all you can really ask for. I mean, okay, we could ask for, a first and second place. Grand finals is always nice to see Pew Fat.
True.
But top 8 finish is really respectable, especially consistently like our boys have been doing.
Absolutely. And you know what? We actually do have even more good news. Because in the doubles bracket, we've got the classic Pew Fat.
Absolutely.
They go 4-0 in their bracket A3, and then from there, They actually lose 2 maps against Plop and Axe, but it's all good. It's Pure Fat we're talking about here. They're going to go, they pick up the reverse sweep, and they pick up that W. From there, they move on in the Winners Bracket Finals against Hungry Box and Mewtwo King. And this time, SFAT does manage to get a little bit of revenge, and the two of them together beat them 3-1.
Nice.
Now, these two actually, they go into the Losers Finals, and they win 3-1 to Fighter Boys again. But PewFat are ready, and they go 3-0. And they pick up first place at CEO Dreamland Melee Doubles.
Aw, yeah.
Now, let's talk Wii U singles. Tell me about Nakat.
Absolutely. So, Nakat started off his pool strong. He beat Eden 2-1, Milo 2-0, Neos 2-0, and then unfortunately lost to Esam 2-1. So that means he was sent into the losers bracket to start the top 48. Started off great. He went 2-1 over MVD. Unfortunately, against Kashmir, he got 3-0'd, and that means he ended up in 25th place. So tell me about Void.
So Void, he actually does really amazing. His pools, he beats TM Seraph 2-0, then he fights against Volpass 2-0, Dandy Penguin 2-0, Karna 2-0, and this sends him to the winners in the top, side in the top 24. From there, he beats Raito 3-1, then he loses against Esam, and this sends him to the losers. But from there, he beats Captain Zach 3-1, and eventually loses to Samora. And this is a 3-1 loss. In other words, he goes and he places 7th place, so another top 8 finish at CEO Dreamland.
Perfect. So we'll move on. Wii U doubles. Our boys Void and Nakat. We got to come up. They got to be a good name like that because we got PewFat. We got to figure out something sometime in the future for Void Nakat because they're always playing together too. So the boys did their thing in pools, making it to the winners bracket. They didn't drop a single game, as you would expect from these two. There, we beat Dabuz and Samsora 2-0. Then we had a crazy battle against TSM 0 and Nairo. In the winners final, we pulled off the win 3-2, sending 0 and Nairo to the losers bracket. And then, guess who came back for a rematch? It was 0 Nairo. They took us down 3-1 in game 1, unfortunately, but because they did come up from the losers bracket, they had to beat our boys twice. Game 2 was unbelievably close. It came down to the last stock. 0 and Nairo, though, they edged it out, taking 3-2, but hey, that puts Void Nakat 2nd place in the Wii U doubles.
Yep, another top 8 finish once again. So,
yep.
One thing I've been noticing recently is that this aura just can't seem to catch a break. We keep doing relatively well, but just that little bit of consistency, that little bit of greatness just keeps slipping from us. But I have faith in our players, all of them, League, Smash, CSGO. They'll come back, and they'll prove their worth.
Absolutely. So one more thing from CEO Dreamland. There was a little game called Rivals of Aether.
Oh, I missed this. Tell me about it.
Yeah. So PewFat, they were playing. It's a doubles match, and
Okay.
they played it, and they ended up getting 5th place. I have no idea about anything about Rivals of Aether, but we just thought it would be kind of neat to add that in there. That was one of the first times that they showed up to a tournament that had that stuff going on. So it was great to kind of see the boys playing something a little different than Melee, and they ended up getting 5th place in it. So they must be doing something right.
Yeah. So, on final notes, the organization actually has a survey that they want to conduct, and they've posted on Reddit. We'll post it in the show notes as well. So I'm sure the org would very much appreciate it if all of our listeners would be able to take that.
Yeah. And hey, just so you guys all know, we are up on iTunes, Google Play, and Pocket Casts, and anywhere else that you can find a RSS feed for your podcasts. We should be on there, and if not, please give us a shout because we will put ourselves on there for you. So if you have a favorite app or anything like that and you are looking for some CLG news, please tell us. Send us an email, clgfaithful@gmail.com, or send us a tweet at clgfaithful on Twitter. We will definitely put our podcast up on there, even if it's just for one person, because it doesn't cost us a thing anyway.
That's right. And you know what? We love to hear from you guys. So if you just got any general feedback, anything you'd like to say, or you'd like your word listened to on air, let us know.
Yeah. All right, guys. This has been our trip.
And this has been Nefarious, and this is the CLG Faithful signing off.
Peace.